Welcome to the Bruce Poinsette Show, the world's most dangerous infomercial. I am your host, Bruce Poinsette, and along with my producer, Ado, we bring you this news, commentary, and interview experience from the Numbers FM studio at the Portland Art Museum. You can catch the full show on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on the Numbers FM 96.7, and you can catch clips on youtube.com/Bruce Poinsette, plus exclusive bonus content on patreon.com/Bruce Poinsette. Today we've got a special episode for you. We are a movie came out. Some people you may have heard of it, Wakanda Forever. Yeah. So doing a little special Numbers family discussion, emergency episode about the movie. We got a guest here, Taiyah. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm ready to talk about it.
Awesome. So we're gonna jump into the movie, and First off, spoiler warning, there will be heavy spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want to be spoiled, pause this, come back. You'll enjoy the discussion. Trust me. Or if you don't care about being spoiled, we're about to get it. So with that said, I just want to go around. First of all, how many times have we all seen the movie?
2.
Twice now.
Twice?
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen it twice as well. So the first question, of course, would be, did you cry during the opening, or are you a soulless, heartless jackal?
No, I didn't cry. I didn't cry the first time I watched the movie. The second time, there were tears.
Okay.
So I'm not completely soulless.
Okay, that's acceptable.
I'm definitely a jackal. I don't cry to a lot of things, but I definitely was tearing up, and like the tears were welling up during that opening.
It was
scene.
a well up.
Yeah, lots of wells for sure. Did you cry, Bruce?
For the sake of this question, I teared up a little bit. I have a heart. I respect Chadwick.
Yep.
The legacy, it touched me. It was, it's interesting, like how they did it. They weaved it into the story, right?
Right.
And I don't know about you, but kind of like the way they did it, where it was just like you start off, sure, he's like, I need to find this cure, I need to fix the heart-shaped herb so I can save him. We don't know what to do. Like, I don't know. A lot of takes I've been hearing is like that kind of felt like the way Chadwick, at least how we as like, fans heard about Chadwick in real life. I don't know. How'd you all feel about that?
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of I feel like that makes sense, because it kind of like the news kind of started coming in, and then it's like the chaos, and Sue's like, wait, what? Like, and then so I feel like it definitely was shown on screen that way, and I feel like it was a good way to really just, it was like, oh, we're in it, like straight up, and then the tribute, I thought it was a good way to really like give him his love.
It definitely mirrored real life to me, at least. I think I can kind of remember the day. It's kind of funny because I think the day that he died, we had already planned on watching the first Black Panther. Like that was something that like our squad like had prepared to do, and then like it was really like it felt as hectic as it did in the movie. Like it definitely felt like it touched to home that moment, because like I it was like an experience of being like, wait, no, this isn't real. Like Chadwick Boseman is not dead, and then just like having to continually like just accept it slowly. So like I would say that the emotion that was set in there, it definitely, shout out to all the actors in this movie, because like, oh my god, like this was like, there were points where I was like, y'all aren't acting, this is y'all's just true reactions to losing your friend.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just like the way this film really like explored grief and the different ways you go through grief is just really, it's just really impactful. And I mean, even with the fast forward a little bit with Shuri, just like the way she struggled with it, the way she for those who are like, who's gonna be the Black Panther? I think if you read the comics, we all know it's gonna be Shuri, right? But like when she goes to the ancestral plane, it's like, voila, it's Killmonger.
Right.
That
was, I heard like rumors that he was gonna be in the movie, but I was like, nah, like that would be like, I didn't know how they were gonna weave it in, and then having him pull up in the ancestral plane. That would, to me, I commend this movie heavily because like of the almost, if there's one thing I've given to all of the stories that Marvel has to pertain to the Black Panther, it's really a story of like struggle, and like they tell a lot of really interesting stories with revenge, and like I feel like each person in the family has had to deal with revenge in a different way. Like with T'Challa, he had to like deal with the person who killed his father and like have to deal with that. And then like with Killmonger, it then became a family issue where it's like, oh, like someone in our family killed my father. Now I have to deal with that when my own culture has betrayed me. And then in this film, it's like it was just kind of random. And then now Shuri is mad at the world. And it's all like it's the story of revenge in this series. Like not a lot of people talk about it, but like that's like it's real, because like each character except for Killmonger finds a way to forgiveness. And it's like it's almost like, whoa, like that's a heavy lesson, because that's not something everyone can do.
Right. And we see it throughout the film. Like Shuri is like, she's battling. Like I feel like, and even like when it kind of goes to like her making the heart-shaped herb, it's like her intentions are fueled by vengeance, and the way that like that kind of like goes on throughout the story and how she deals with it. In the end, it's like obviously like very beautiful how it like kind of closes out. So I'd say the writing this time around was some of my favorite, like from Marvel, straight up.
Bruce, I'm curious, as we've had many MCU conversations, even on this show, specifically towards Phase 4, where does this stack up for you?
I mean, I think it's probably my favorite Phase 4 creation. But also, yeah, it's still tough. Like I'm thinking about it in terms of Phase 4. I'm thinking about it, you know, in comparison, obviously, to the first Black Panther.
Yeah.
And then just in terms of just like depth of story, like really making you feel something amongst Marvel movies.
It's up there.
Right?
It
It's
really
up there
is.
for me too.
Like I thought they did a really well job with the pacing of the movie too. Like it's a 3-hour film, but it's like there's so much that they're giving us, like lots of surprises, lots of like, you know, characters and things like that, and they deal with those so well, and like a lot of the different issues and things like in the story that come up, like it's all just so perfectly interwoven.
Right.
Like it's like hats off to Ryan Coogler, because
Hats off, for real.
it's not an easy task.
Yeah, just like the way they, I guess like one of my biggest, I feel like, complaints with the first one was just like we gotten this far to kind of like end it with the Marvel CG fight against, you know, the like mirror version of the protagonist, right? Whereas in this one, it's like Shuri and Namor, they're fighting, and you have like, it felt like such a more like a natural, you know, I guess maybe it's not so natural like actually end in peace, although that's very aspirational, but like the way like that final battle ended, like it felt, again, like aspirational, but also it's just something, there's just something so much more there,
Right?
You know?
A lot more. I would agree. This is okay. So I told y'all before we started recording, I have a hot take that I don't think is going to be a hot take in this room, but is going to be a hot take for a lot of people who watch this movie. And I feel like I rarely like to be the person who's like, y'all just didn't get it. But I think in this movie in particular, I see a lot of people who didn't get it. And I'm sorry. I feel like this is a movie that will hit you harder if you are brown. If you are some sort of black or brown, this movie is going to make a lot more sense than it will to a white person. Because I feel like the first Black Panther was more accessible to a wider audience. This movie deals with colonialism and like tension between two literal different cultures and how to approach that. Two different cultures who were given the same technology, mind you, and are dealing with it in two very different ways. You were meant to feel for both cultures while also almost like being disappointed in both of them at the same time because they're making decisions that are leading deeper and deeper into a war. So it's like a really conflicting film. And it's like that's conflict that is dealt with in modern day with a lot of black and brown folk. Like there is a lot of issues between black and brown folk in real life.
Right.
So it's like it's one of those movies, and a lot of it leads from colonialism, white supremacy. Like all of it is led from an outside source. So it's like this movie, if you are a white person who benefits from white supremacy and like whiteness, you're probably watching it and you're like, I don't understand. Why is this issue happening like this? Why are they choosing to fight? Da, 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 da. And I like remember watching it and being like, yeah,
it's deep.
It's like this is a movie, the deeper, like it's about grief and like so many different things, but like the issue stems from colonialism.
I remember too that ending scene, like that when they're fighting and Shuri's like choosing to like, you know, either kill Namor or not. Like it keeps flashing between their lives and their experiences, like their mothers. Right. And like there was like a scene too with like Namor's mom and like she's pregnant in the water and it's just floating so beautifully, and it's just like the imagery is just like it's a lot deeper than a lot of white people will ever be able to conceptualize, because it's like we're here in this part of the movie as a result of colonialism and like how it's directly affected these cultures, and now they're fighting, but then it's like they choose peace, and that was like the like whoa for me, because it was like the vengeance was so heavy and so deep within both of them for, you know what I mean, obvious reasons, and it's just like that power to just like choose togetherness was like, whoa.
That was heavy.
Super heavy.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be weaving in a lot of hot takes or some of the more wild takes we've heard in this. And that kind of reminds me of something I saw where, black person, mind you, and shout out to you if you're watching this. But was talking about, I'm going to see Black Panther, but I'm going in and I'm rooting for the Mayans. And it's like,
at the point,
that's interesting, but
right.
Okay. But that does bring us to Namor, like the new breakout star of the MCU. I think it's safe to say the villain of this film. But for those watching again who haven't watched it and are choosing to be spoiled, just bring you up to speed on the conflict. So in Black Panther 1, T'Challa introduced, made vibranium, or at least the knowledge of vibranium, available to the world. And again, to Ado, to your point about it being like more accessible to white people in the first one, that's kind of more of like that kumbaya, we're going to share with the world moment. This one kind of explores, again, the repercussions and the fact that Talokan, Namor's world, also has vibranium. And by making it, by exposing this to the world, you kind of like expose them. They were a hidden society. They didn't want to be, they didn't want the surface world, incurring on them. So now he has a legitimate gripe with Wakanda.
Yep.
And of course, these other Western countries, these other world powers, they try and break into a Wakandan lab to, again, steal vibranium.
Right.
So they are also, again, misusing this trust that T'Challa, put into the world. So again, you have this conflict between Namor and, Queen Ramonda and then Shuri. Namor ends up, we'll get there later, but Namor ends up killing Queen Ramonda. And again, like you said, like the beef is so deep because of that. It's only this kind of like understanding. And again, we're going to get all the way there, but this kind of understanding of we don't want our societies going to war forever.
Right.
And we both have a common cause, a common, common enemy, common antagonist, and we need to protect each other. And it's only that understanding that kind of brings people together. But with that said, bring it back to Namor. Like, how do we, where does he rank in terms of, he's not really a villain.
Yeah.
Right.
But like when I think about just like MCU, antagonists, you know. Yeah, like
I think it's like another like anti-hero situation. I think
Yeah.
Marvel's been playing around with a lot of like the villain, but also good character traits as well. Cause it's like, it's beef because it's like, the queen. But then it's like, we see that Namor is like trying to protect Talokan. And like,
Yeah.
it like all the things that come with that. And like, there's an understanding of his character and what he's gone through that it's like you have empathy and it's like we don't need to be like it's a so I wouldn't say full villain.
Yeah. I feel like so the clear difference that they made between him and a lot of other villains and like even like villains that we're like sentimental towards in the MCU are like, I look at Thanos, like at the end of the day, as much as like someone might try and argue that Thanos was correct to like kill half of the universe, it's like at the end of the day, he could have doubled the resources. Like there was another way for Thanos to get around his situation. Like with Killmonger, like he could have found other ways to work with Wakanda to like help people outside of Wakanda. With Namor, it's like Wakanda's putting his people at risk. Wakanda put his people at risk, and like they didn't know, but like now that they do know, it's like,
What are we gonna do?
the decisions that they make affect both parties. So it's like if Wakanda moves recklessly, and at points like again like they kind of do, like, not to say Nakia was wrong to kill that person, but it was like that was a risky move nonetheless to kill the one person from Talokan, who then starts the war when they take Shuri out of Talokan. And it's like, when you move recklessly like that, yeah, someone's gonna want to retaliate. Like it makes especially when you're like the king of like a whole country, like a whole society, like there's gonna be retaliation when you move recklessly. And like I think that's one huge lesson of this film. Like it's really interesting because it's like Namor to me almost works as a force of nature in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like, while yes, like he's meant to look as this villain and like he kills Queen Ramonda, which sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It's like at the end of the day, this is like almost like he's not wrong for wanting to protect his people first and foremost. And he knows the power that he has, and to lessen that power is to then lessen the image of your people, and then invite attacks to your people. So I don't know. I don't know if I can necessarily, like, obviously if we look at the comics, Namor has always been an anti-hero. Like he's just like, that is just what he is. But I feel like in the comics, like he's too much of a for me to even consider him an anti-hero. While here, it's like while I disagree with some of his decisions, I kind of agree at a lot of points as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Namor, I'm in that same place where the only real thing where I'm like, that's too much is like he's like hell bent on killing Riri Williams, the scientist,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, yeah, I think there's other ways you could deal with this, but also it's Marvel.
Right.
We've got an Ironheart show coming. We gotta lay the groundwork out there.
Gotta flex the muscles.
But yeah, I mean, I'm curious what you all thought of just Talokan itself. Like me watching the film, I was just like, I know it was like 3 hours already, but give me 30 more minutes
Right.
in there. Give me some more time to get to know Namora and what was the
Atuma?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
give me some more time to know
Yeah.
these people. Like, yeah, but what did y'all think of it?
I fell in love. That's like the joke around, not the joke, but like something funny that's been happening around the office is like we all got to watch it together, and there's a song that plays when we first see Talokan, and it has now become Squad's favorite song. Like every time we play it, everyone's like, oh, the scene and all of that, because this is beautiful. And like I think, yeah, I agree, I would have loved to have seen, like, again, in this movie, knowing who Namora is and who Atuma is from the comics, it's like these were huge flips on them. Like traditionally, Atuma is just a villain, but it's like this is like he's not just a villain here. Like he's actually like a warrior and a general for this country that he loves, which is also, mind you, it's great to see nationalism that is like inviting and kind of beautiful, like people who love their nation for a reason, for good reasons to love their nation, because it's like both nations are lit for different reasons, and it's like cool to see that, because it's not something that we have in the US, but that's a whole different other story. But yeah, I would have loved to have seen more of Talokan, because like it was just beautiful. It was such a beautifully done concept, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely like. It was breathtaking. Like when, like you said, the song played, and it's just like it just opens up. The light, you see them like swimming around, like, you know what I mean. It has some very like historically accurate depictions of like what Mayans were doing, and like I just thought that was so beautiful that like that culture was able to be represented, but then just like the world itself that they were able to build around that and these characters was just like wow, like completely, like I had no idea that was gonna, like nobody, like
no one saw that coming.
No one saw that coming, but it was like one of the best surprises I've ever seen, like in a movie, like period. It was but yeah, I definitely agree. Like I would love to see like more from Namor and Talokan, like that world, and I feel like we're gonna get it, and I'm like, Marvel, drop it.
We'll pay.
You know, Taiyah, you made a point earlier about just like all these opportunities where they show like the similarities in the societies. I was gonna say like another scene that stuck out to me, you know, when Namor's talking about his backstory and coming up to like bury his mother, and then seeing this slave plantation,
right,
burning that to the ground. It was just like, you know, when you just talk about, I mean, there's so many scenes in the movie where it's just like, aha, this is it. Yeah.
It also just adds to like, you know, like adds to his character and like the understanding of like, this is why he is the way he is, you know, like he had to see that. He had to literally, you know, like his whole family and his peoples had to literally move as a result of that. And it's like, it's a heart-wrenching moment, but it's like a moment of like, understanding of like, this is why he is Namor.
Right.
Let's go Namor. Just get a little messy for a second before we move on.
He loves mess.
Because you know, the question I've been seeing or discussion I've been seeing going back and forth is like, were he and Shuri flirting during that thing? Do y'all feel that? Because for those who don't know, Namor in the comics, and specifically, it's more so like with the Fantastic Four and Sue Storm, where he's just like constantly kidnapping / you know, just he's trying to be.
They've shifted
he is a problem.
They've shifted it a little bit more recently to where like Sue is kind of down, but like nah. In the 50s and 60s, my boy was just straight up kidnapping.
Whoa, okay.
They've evolved it from kidnapping to they are in an entanglement.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's the modern version.
Oh, how the times have changed. Like, he can't kidnap her anymore.
But they can get entangled. And do they get entangled? I've seen some things recently between those two.
I don't know what did y'all see that in the film, or is that just like, is that people grafting the comics onto this?
I had the thought.
I think it's like, I see what people are saying, but I feel like it's an equal admiration kind of thing that he has for Shuri. Like seeing like where she comes from, Wakanda, like, you know, that they have similar, they kind of like parallel each other in a way, in a lot of ways. So I think it was, to me, the way I saw it was like an equal admiration of like, they are two people who are trying to protect their homelands from colonialism, from vibranium getting out to these, you know, white people. Like they're protecting they're people for, similar reasons. And I think he understood that she held a lot of responsibility and a lot of, I don't know, kind of like royal air to herself. So I feel like that's kind of what I took from it.
Yeah. Mind you, I'm not against it. I'm not against that.
I'm not either. He's like, this was my mom's bracelet.
Yeah,
that's a move.
That was a move for sure. That's
you know what I mean? Like,
I would be flattered if someone gave me their mom's bracelet.
You know what I mean? This is an ancient bracelet. Like,
that's an ancient.
Granted, though, it's like, here's my mom's bracelet, and then the next day, also, I'm going to kill your mother. So,
yeah, the flirting definitely stopped quickly. If there was flirting, I had this thought though, and I don't know if they're gonna do this. This is some future talk. I made a post about this on one of my accounts somewhere. I don't know which one, but. So sadly, since we lost Chadwick, we won't be able to do the traditional T'Challa Storm relationship. But I don't see, and Marvel, I know y'all have been very anti-queer in a lot of your things. Like they've been cutting multiple queer scenes. So I'm challenging you, Marvel. I'm challenging you.
I'm not aware of this.
Yes, this is something that's happened in like several movies. Like they just get too scared. Like they'll have a queer plot line and they'll be like, maybe we don't do this, and then they cut it. That's why, like at the end of the movie, we had the two people in the Dora Milaje, and like that's the little scene that we got. So Marvel, I'm challenging you. Stop doing this. Y'all can have gay people in your movies. Make Storm and Shuri the couple.
Ooh.
Wow.
I am so pro Storm and Shuri.
Shuri in this movie.
Right.
Was looking. But yeah, Marvel, stop playing it safe.
Yeah, stop.
And it's also like Marvel, you have all this representation and, you're doing all these amazing things, but you're kind of shying away from this. This is like it's interesting. I don't know. Maybe they know their audiences and know that there's certain toxic aspects of like Marvel MCU fandoms, but that's like not what they should be basing things off of at all. So
toxic fandom. That is a segue.
Great segue. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been on social media, even before the movie came out, because the takes were kind of prepackaged. But I mean, Ado, I gotta ask you, like, as Black men, are we all right after Wakanda Forever? Because
my ego has been shattered. There was not a single strong
Black Pantheress.
Yes. Black Pantheress in the MCU. This film broke me deeply. There is not one single scene with a strong black man doing strong black man things. It hurt me. Bruce, it hurt me deeply.
Ooh, not a single rock was lifted by
not a single rock.
There was no oiled up fight for the throne.
Not at all. M'Baku was pushed to the floor.
Emasculated.
I hated it. No, I don't care. I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, I love to see, we all love to see like a black man thriving in a movie. That's great. But it's just like, for one, a lot of the people who are saying that are also the people who have been like deep cut, like recast T'Challa just because they didn't want to see a black female Black Panther. And that's really like unnerving, because it's just like, y'all, like, can we not have a movie? Can we have one film maybe where black women are the main characters and don't have to rely on black men?
Right.
Just a take.
Just
a thought.
Just a thought.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
God forbid.
God forbid. And like, there is probably a version of this film where they did recast T'Challa and the movie was great. But I feel like, in my opinion, this movie not only highlights and I think creates more importance for certain black women in the MCU, but like, is just like, I think they went the right way about it for losing such a huge figure. Like, I think it's difficult to recast someone this big.
No, you can't.
This important.
You can't recast you can't recast Chadwick Boseman.
Not this easily, like not like a year or two after his death. Like they're definitely gonna recast him, or like they're definitely going to be like a variant of T'Challa in Kang Dynasty or something like that in Secret Wars. Like it's gonna happen, but like I just feel like it would have felt so strange to just throw someone else in there and then be like, nothing happened, because something did happen, and something happened to a lot of people, and this was an effective thing, and this story tells it. Like, it's also like, okay, so sorry, this is something that not a lot of people have talked about. This movie speaks on the Black experience way deeper than I think, again, people are looking at, because it's like there is a lot of households that have to deal with the concept of the father, or like a figure like T'Challa, disappearing, and then having to reel with that and then grow and learn. Like that is something that a lot of people have gone through, where it's like you don't have your father or your brother at home, and it's like you might lose that person, whether it be to death or to something else. Cough, cough, prison, stop throwing people in prison. But like that is what this movie, that is a big plot point of this film as well. Like, when a big figure to you, like a father, is lost, like a brother is lost, like, how do we continue? And like, it is really beautiful to see that it's not that they didn't need him, but it's like they can continue without him.
Mm-hmm. It's a great movie. Like, without Chadwick Boseman, like, we're able to see a new creation and a new kind of take on what, you know, the Black Panther story means. And like, this is, like it's a packed female cast, and it's amazing.
Yes.
And you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm just like, I kind of just, when I think about people talking on the internet, it's just like, what else do you want? You know what I mean? Like, everybody is amazing in this film. Like, you know, like Shuri dives into some really deep, like, concepts and things to like deal with. We talked about vengeance. We talked about, like, you know what I mean, grief. Like, that was such a big thing, and I feel like, you know, everybody showed up, and the message was got. And to me, I actually enjoyed this film more than the first film, just because I feel like it really, really delved into some things. Like, the first movie was like opened up to like everybody, but like we were talking about before, like this kind of like dives into experiences that Black and brown people experience. Is just like, it's not just for white people. So it's like, when I hear people say that, it's like, you know, you being anti-Black, right? Like, it's not a good look for you, pal. So I don't know.
But
like,
right. Oh, this film, and just kind of like the franchise, it's like it brings out this weird anti-Blackness from some Black people that I get it. Like, it's the, you know, internet take world, and you get attention, but it's just,
it's so sad. It's just like, you know, again, God forbid we have a Black female-led cast.
Right.
You know what I mean? Something that is rare, by the way.
Right.
And you take this moment on this level, and you take this moment to do your anti-Black complaining. I'm demasculated. Like, sir,
chill.
Please.
It's not that deep.
Let's take it a step further. Like, a lot of these people after the first one, they weren't with T'Challa like that.
Right.
They're like, I'm Team Killmonger all the way. They did not care about T'Challa until Chadwick died, and there was talk about a female Black Panther, and they were so surprised because, again, this happened in the comics, but people don't read the comics, but whatever. That's cool. But yeah, it's just Hotep takes, and like, I don't understand. Like you said, in this moment, at this scale, and you're taking this moment to be like, I stand with Jason Whitlock,
right,
and all these other weirdo Black people who hate Black people. Like,
what are you doing?
Why? Why?
It's
But-
been a hot mess.
But I think that's a good segue. Let's just carve out some time to specifically just celebrate Black women here, because
Yeah.
you know, when we talk about
Absolutely.
this cast, like Angela Bassett, like I feel like they're not enough superlatives. And my only complaint about the film, and this is admittedly just going to be stupid and crude, but it's just like I wanted to see her just like physically just beat the shit out of people. Like
Yep.
I feel, again, this is not a substantive complaint in any way, but it's just like those guns were wasted. Like
Right.
she's just walking into the UN, and I get it. The Doras do their thing.
Mhm.
She is the head of state. She did nothing wrong, but just from a selfish standpoint, I'm just like, I need her to like throw a stone cold stunner on someone or
Right.
something.
Yeah, that would have been lit.
I'm with you. I feel like I would have loved to see Spear, Angela Bassett. We got to see her swim,
True.
Yeah.
but
I would have loved to see her throw a few punches.
You know what I
Get
mean?
busy.
a kick,
Yeah. Maybe
You know what
even
I
a
mean?
smack if
a
needed.
combo.
Yeah. Some chops, who knows?
But you know,
yeah.
Angela Bassett.
Okay. For one, I'm gonna be like, I know Marvel movies don't get put up for Oscars that much, but if any Marvel film was going to go for acting Oscars, this has to be the one. Because like we have Angela Bassett with these the monologue between her and Okoye. That one, like that was another moment that had me tearing up, because it's like that was a moment that I didn't think they were gonna do. Like I expected Okoye to go back and have it be like, yo, like they got Shuri, like I did my best, and then like have him be like, okay, cool, whatever. But like to have Queen Ramonda be like,
Yeah.
what did you do? And like,
With like, even with the moment with Deny,
yeah,
like I was hurt. I was like feeling like, you know, the general,
yes,
like, ooh, like, you know what I mean? And Denai Guerrero is
killing.
amazing in all things she does. Like, that was a moment where I was like, yo, they're really like tugging the heartstrings right now, because it's like, you know what I mean? The general.
That was a hard moment.
But Ramonda, I mean, that was hard, but she had some points.
No, it's real.
It was like,
Right.
She was right.
You're the head of security. You lost the princess.
Right.
Like you get fired in any
The
job
princess
in that.
got took on a whale.
Oh,
like,
Right.
And remember that time where Killmonger took over the kingdom and you sided with him? I haven't forgot. Like,
ooh.
yeah.
That was
Yeah.
that
No,
was a hit.
She read her.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That was amazing. Even like the whole point of like she gave up her husband for this country, and then her being like a husband that she could just go see in jail right quick if she
man.
wanted to.
She
I
was
was like, wow.
She was coming with them.
When Ryan wrote that, he must have been like, oh yeah, this is a good one. Let me like, oh my God, because that monologue was insane. Like, oof.
So shout out all of our amazing
Black queens.
Black women
Lupita.
in this film. Riri,
Lupita.
I don't know the actual actor's name.
I'll see it.
Dominique Thorne. I
Okay.
wanna
Yep.
say, yeah. Yeah, let's go Nakia and Lupita. You
Yeah.
know, what do we think of Lupita in this movie? That's you just shaking your head. Just
Ugh, just amazing. just amazing.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking about I have to be careful. I might cut this out. This could just
'Cause
stay between us. So first viewing, there's that scene where right before she jumps into the water.
I know where you're
I
going with
know where this is going.
And then my first viewing, like I'm over here like, oh, what's about to happen? And then Taiyah goes up next to me close and she's like, Lupita is thick right now.
It's the bakery.
The bodysuit was crazy. It was
Yes.
just like,
Oh, but that scene though,
yeah.
because that was. I mean, let's be real. That they just sat there on the bakery.
Yeah.
Like, no.
They was giving love to
It
them
was
cakes.
it was definitely intended shot.
Yeah.
She was just chilling there, looking at like
Looking at the sunset.
Like this was a clear moment.
Yes. That was given Lupita.
This might have been in the script.
Yeah. That when I felt like Ryan probably didn't connect with Lupita for a while, and then like Squad all saw each other, and he was like, okay, maybe this scene's going to happen.
But amazing, like fierce as always. I mean,
I liked how subtle her performance was in this one.
Yeah,
very much so. Like her story as well is super interesting because it's like this whole time she's been keeping this secret from everyone and has to also struggle with the loss of her lover. And it's like, it's played so subtly because I think she knows that like she's always known that she has to play a bigger role for her country. But she's holding on to this secret that could change everything for her country.
Right.
So it's kind of like it's played so subtly and beautifully.
It's very subtle. It's a very subtle role, but it's like we get it. Yeah. By the end of the movie, we're like, T'Challa Jr. Like, like we get it. I was definitely here for that.
Yeah, I was just how like it's like she was just bringing in like that real, for lack of better terms, like worldliness. It's like you bring in Haiti and just like. And again, like a lot of it, like just subtle touches, like, naming, T'Challa Jr. Toussaint.
Right.
Like Toussaint the Overture, the leader of the Haitian Revolution. But having that connection, having Lupita, again, what's her background? It's like Mexican.
I just learned that she was born in Mexico.
Yeah.
So, she's out there like speaking Spanish, speaking Spanish, French, English, moving between all these different worlds, again, kind of like showing that connection and how connected we really are as like Black and brown communities. But yeah, just like you said, just like kind of like so very like understated, but so powerful. And then also, kind of like these illusions again, before the film, people were wondering, was Lupita going to be, is Nakia going to be the Black Panther? Because, when you think about, I guess the more like traditional vision of it, as far as like that warrior spirit of it, that's kind of like who you think of almost a little bit more so than Shuri, who's more like the scientist.
Right.
But also, I think one of the scenes, you talked about earlier, where she kills one of the guards in Talokan, and Shuri is the one who's like, I can save her. It's like, no, we gotta go. Right. And it's that little subtle difference of like, Nakia's a soldier.
Right.
Shuri is that one little like that intangible, like that same like heart, that callback to like her brother and
right,
that humanity that makes her truly like the person who should have the mantle.
Right.
Still going through characters here. Before we get to our special colonizer section, we gotta talk about NECA or Michaela Cole. I don't know about you. I feel like, we talked about the scene at the end of the movie where she kisses the other Dora Milaje on the forehead, and that's like, ooh,
my love.
Marvel getting risque.
Yep.
With its representation.
Still get.
But yeah, how do we feel about NECA in this film?
I need more of her. For they got such a big actor, and like she's super interesting, and like I feel like we have our rotating Dora Milaje, and I feel like she's a new addition, and I wanna just know more about her character, especially now since she's, what is it, the Midnight Daughter or something? Is that the name of the suit? No. I'm thinking of Midnight Suns. What is
the blue suit? Are you talking about
the blue suit? Yeah. I'll throw it on the screen. I'll throw the name of it on the screen. But like now, since it seems like they're trying to establish that as like a new hero, in a way, like I would like to see more from her and her character and like get more of an understanding.
I would agree. Yeah. Like I would love to see just more of that character. Yeah.
Yeah, it was that was the only thing where I'm wondering, I think we're going with like the comics here, so it's not like just something they put in there, but we're just introducing more suits in here. Felt like it's a lot of suits.
Right. There was a lot of suits in this film, yes.
Although I did like that Okoye just kept talking about how ugly the suit is.
Right.
So that kind of grounded it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, definitely gave me the ilk of, you remember in Moon Knight where like Moon Knight's running around with his fiance the whole time, and then like at the end she gets those powers, and then you're just kind of like, oh, this is not what I expected to happen. This is coming a little bit out of nowhere, but I guess I'm here. I'm with it.
Is it like y'all feeling like everybody's got suits nowadays? Is that what it is?
A little bit. It's just like
they giving everybody suits.
They giving everybody suits a little bit, and like it's fine because I understand it's a superhero universe and people are gonna like it. It makes sense that that's what happened. I just definitely feel I don't necessarily know if it was entirely necessary. Like it wasn't super, like they were just as dope as Dora Milaje as they were in those fake Iron Man suits. Pretty much. There's mad Iron Man suits in this movie. For a movie that is not an Iron Man movie.
It's very Iron Man meets Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Type suit. Mm-hmm. With that, to the colonizers. Because Ross is back.
Yep.
Got what's her name?
Val.
Val. Contessa DeFontaine. What's the full name?
What? Oh, the person who plays Val?
No, I know her name, the actress, but what's
the French one? The French person?
No. Yeah, Valentina Allegra DeFontaine. I don't know where Contessa came from, but
I'm very bad with names. Is this
purple streak hair lady?
Yeah,
from Seinfeld.
Yeah, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, the colonizers. Oh, Val.
Like, I know a lot of people were, after the first one, were kind of like mixed on Ross.
Right.
Like just from reading like the Christopher Priest runs, especially like I get the Ross character is sort of like, you know, white guy, fish out of water in the story. And I will say, like, when you add Valentina in there, it kind of, especially that scene where, he's asking like, what if we were the only ones who had vibranium or whatever? He's like, I dream. Right. Yeah. I was like, that is a heavy dose of mayo, but that's real.
That was the colonizer DNA activating in her, like actively on screen.
She wanted that vibranium bad. Yeah, Ross and Val. I feel like I've grown to enjoy Ross. Like Ross has just become the white boy.
The white boy.
he's the white boy that is occasionally invited to the party, and he's there. Val, I'm so interested what they're gonna do with Val moving forward because sorry, this is getting into a lot of like the Twitter talk and the nerd talk. So recently, we know how Thunderbolt Ross, the actor who played Thunderbolt Ross, recently passed. For context, Thunderbolt Ross is a person who regularly hunts the Hulk. He's been in a few of the movies, and he eventually turns into a character known as Red Hulk. And initially, when he passed, I thought they were just going to give his role to Val, but they recently recast Thunderbolt Ross with Harrison Ford, who is Han Solo, which
he's still doing movies.
Yes, he is still doing movies, and he hates big franchises, but he always does big franchises because he loves money. So Harrison Ford will be playing Thunderbolt Ross. So now I'm curious, is Val just going to be like the Amanda Waller of the Marvel Universe?
Mm. That's a good question.
Because it just seems like that's the role that they're giving her.
Just to bring it back to Ross for a second, because you reminded me of so I watched a show Higher Learning with Van Lathan and Rachel Lindsay, and The other day Van was going off on this point about how he's talking about solid whites. It's like the highest compliment you can give a white person is solid white. Anything above that is just going to come back and bite you in the ass.
Right.
So, like, if anytime you hear someone talking about those are good white folks, no. But solid.
If you're solid white.
Solid white, the
Yeah.
bare minimum.
Yeah.
It leaves room. It leaves room for Ross to mess up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps the expectations reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
He's a nice solid white.
Because we can't have him
No.
we can't no doing this.
I mean, again, like when we talk about the first film, like they did kind of lose me with Ross. I know they had to do it for, again, narrative purposes, but Ross piloting the ship.
Right.
Coming the same day. I was like, oh, come on.
Again, that movie definitely, the first one, even like Ross's role in this movie, he's just mainly on the phone being like, hey, yo, what we doing? Who's in Wakanda? And then in the last movie, we have him flying ships. Like the last movie, again, not to say that it was necessarily made for white people. I just think it was made accessible for white audiences a lot more than this one is.
Him on the phone, like with the beads, is like it's realistic. Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
You're
Your intelligence.
You ain't
You're
actually
giving us
gonna
this
do nothing.
information. It's a good trade off.
Yeah. Again, not. I just feel like this film. When you think about the white presence specifically, you have, the UN conference or whatever it is with everyone trying to be like, Wakanda hasn't followed through with his promises.
Right.
Like,
the white people in this movie do not thrive at all. They look real bad.
And they shouldn't, you know.
They shouldn't. I'm
They
glad
really
that they don't.
Because again, it's all their fault.
Yeah. Everything in this film is complete.
This is for us. Like,
yes. Again, I'll say it once again. There's a lot of white people. I watched a lot of reviews about this movie, and there's like certain reviewers where I was like, dang, like you're saying all these points and you just didn't get it. And it's because you're not brown. And
do you feel like it's like, for like some of the people that have been reviewing it, do you get the sense of like, it's like they kind of like are like missing their like little white saviors in the movie? Like,
yeah, I think fully, and like this is no flat, because I understand at the end of the day an opinion is an opinion. And everyone can have an opinion. But this movie, it's really hard to understand the conflict if you don't understand whiteness. This is a movie where it's like the conflict, like if you're someone who is benefiting from white supremacy and like the patriarchy, if you are benefiting from both of those, this is a movie that is really difficult to understand, because if you're benefiting from both of them, it's partially looking at like the movie's giving a look to you being like, hey, bud, hey, what do you think? Like the movie is definitely about that. So it's like when you are one who benefits from that and might not know, like understand that these are things that are bad, then you're looking at it being like, I don't understand why are they fighting. Like they have no reason to fight. Like why does he want to kill Riri? Like this doesn't make any sense.
Just like, I don't know, man. Like,
it's kind of like when Logan Paul watched Nope and then said that he hated it, and the whole movie was about him. Like it's kind of like that. It's kind of like if you can't separate yourself enough from the film to be like, oh, this is a movie about colonialism and like whiteness and like the need for resource and like expounding ourselves way too far, way further than we actually need to. That's what the movie's about. But if you're someone who's just like at home being like, I don't understand, like it's just like, and maybe I'm mistaking it, and maybe there's a bunch of white people out here who just
no, I don't think it's a mistake. It's an accurate take.
Yeah.
I was just like thinking like, yeah, like further clarification. I feel like, yeah, it's not for them, and I feel like if anything, it's a call to action for white people to really reflect on their privilege and their whiteness. If you're not understanding this movie,
you got to chill out. It's a tough one. Sorry, Bruce.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, it's funny you talk about like YouTube reviews and whatnot. Like I'll just be on there, and if I just see like similar to like back when we had that discussion about the Oscar slap, like if I see it's only white people commentating on it, it's just like nope.
Yeah, we're not doing it.
Skip. But then the funny part is seeing like people who normally do that, and this is the only time when they invite their black friends on.
Right.
Because they're at least aware of that on the review. And it's like, that's interesting. I mean, it's progress, I guess. But also, again, I still don't want to. No. You.
It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the people is like, your take is irrelevant.
Your take is definitely irrelevant. Unless you're going to sit there and acknowledge, like if you can sit there and acknowledge the points being made in the film in a real way, like if you can look at it and be like, this is a commentary on whiteness and colonialism. And like, because here's what's also really interesting about the movie. The movie tells that story with barely showing any white people. Like for a 3-hour film, we maybe see white people like for 15 minutes.
Straight
and it's like,
up.
That's like, again, it's not a direct way of being like.
It's also out the norm for them too.
Right. It's not a very direct film in being like, this is white people's fault. But for us who live in a world where everything where everything is white people's fault, it's probably pretty hard.
You should have like something go everything is white people's fault. No, but for real, like, and that's real. I mean, if again, it's like I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it if you don't understand. And if you can understand, great. But that's like super high expectations for white people. So a lot of them are just about to be lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
It's wild. What is hard for white people to understand, you know, a film like this.
True.
But it's like we grow up, you know, I feel pretty good walking through a Tarantino movie and, you know, understanding what's going on, even as just messed up. It's like, yeah, this is, even when it's just like, oh, I'm gonna get the N-word off 50 times,
right,
and put it in the script. It's like, that's weird, Tarantino. But also I know white people who write that,
right?
It's like, yeah. Oh,
Tarantino.
One more thing before we get to like just like some stray thoughts, but you know, we kind of brought up the recasting of T'Challa earlier. And, you know, it was the whole movement, but they ended up actually doing that again.
Yeah.
You know, the post credits, we got T'Challa Jr., who we actually saw earlier in the film. So I noticed that the second time. And I talked about this off screen, but if we can pull this up, and I think I'll send it to you for the post. Again, my favorite Wakanda Forever meme so far, where they talk about you're asked Shuri, are you good at keeping secrets, right? Shuri's like, yeah. It's like, yeah, my Haitian name is Toussaint, but my real name is Nick Cannon Jr. And it's just like, God damn it.
I love it.
Actually, I should say that was my favorite meme until the other thing we saw right before this. Alex Jones and Ron DeSantis
in some wonderful leather gear.
Oh.
As a friend of mine who sent it to me called it Snowconda.
Yo.
Snowconda.
Put that up in post, please.
Yes. Oh, Snowconda Forever is being thrown up.
Oh, the internet.
I'm gonna actually say Snowconda temporarily, please.
Snowconda.
Oh, God.
Please, temporary Snowconda. Yeah, they did recast. Kind of recast. Is it a recast or is it just like a What is this?
I mean, what? Like they've got time, so you know, between however long between the next film and whatever, you know, time jumps Marvel does,
right?
You could have,
that boy could be a teenager very soon.
Yeah, like when is Kang Dynasty supposed to come out?
Oh, like 2025 or 2026. Like we got some time.
Yeah, you know, so they can plant the seeds, let them, you know. They still got to roll out the X-Men. Like, there'll be time.
Yeah.
Okay. I just don't want to see like an unrealistic jump.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I don't need a huge time jump right quick. Like I would like to just see the thing is like I'm not in a rush for a new T'Challa.
Like we know he's there.
Yeah.
We know he exists.
I like Shuri as Black Panther. I want to see how she evolves and how that character grows. And like if like here's the thing that we also have to entertain. Like while the MCU is like going and thriving right now, there is going to be a point in the next 20 years where they're going to have to stop. Like people are going to stop going. It's going to have to end at some point. And like, I don't know. Marvel has become like too big of a name. It's kind of like Jurassic Park. Like it's going to be like at some point they're just going to have to pause and then maybe they pick up, maybe they reboot the universe, but like it's going to have to stop at some point. So like I feel like instead of trying to put all this pressure on recasting or like making a new T'Challa, like let's just see how long we can have Shuri.
Yeah, let's
like,
just enjoy this like character too. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's dope that we get T'Challa Jr., but it's like I would hate to almost feel like, because then it would feel like if they're trying to do like if they're trying to rush it, it'd feel like they're trying so hard to like get a new male protagonist.
Right.
And like I don't know how I feel about that, because it's like we don't need it at the moment, but it's, you know, it's dope that T'Challa has a son.
Yeah, very cute.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, definitely, we got to spend some more time with Shuri. And I mean, when you think about the first film, because, you know, honestly, she played more comic relief,
right?
And you know, she made gadgets,
right,
in the first film. Like to step up from that to be the protagonist. Like, again, we have the reference in the comics, but like it's not a small thing. Obviously, Letitia Wright is like an actor, is, you know, got credentials,
right?
But yeah, she stepped up all the way in to that role, and we got to see her evolve into that. We didn't really even talk about M'Baku evolve into like this wise, you know,
councilman.
Yeah, wise council person.
It's confirmed as well that now he is the king of Wakanda.
Right.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He is now the king of Wakanda. So that's even more interesting. Like there's so many stories to tell, because now it's like the Black Panther is not the ruler of Wakanda anymore. The Black Panther is purely the protector. So like, what does that mean? What does that look like? I feel like they have a lot of stories that they can tell. There's a lot of like Black Panther things that can happen next. Like Black Panther shares a very strong relationship with characters like the Fantastic Four and stuff like that. Like I think it's interesting. Like it's sad that we're not going to be able to see things traditionally done like we did with Chadwick, but it's like we're getting so many stories now. Like Armor Wars is a Tony Stark story that is now a Rhodey story. And it's like, I'm open to these changes because I don't need stories to be retold exactly how I've already read them. So I'm excited to see what it looks like to have Shuri in this place.
Yeah. And just like, again, without, you know, we talked about that loss before. Like, it's not just Chadwick, you know, Queen Ramonda's gone. Like, it really is this new order.
Right. This new era for Wakanda.
Yeah. And of course, now we have the other element of this, I wouldn't call it a partnership just yet, but, you know, an understanding with Talokan.
Right. Like, that's going to be I'm so excited. I can't wait for Sue Storm to be introduced to the universe, because, like, Reed is going to be pissed. Reed Richards is not going to be pleased. Because, like, comic books Namor is not, to me, he ain't all that. This Namor? This man got people struggling. So I'm excited that a Sue Storm might want to go home with this guy, and Reed Richards will not be happy. I'm excited.
Oh man, the Fox News takes. The Namor was here already, but now Namor is coming for our women.
Well, it depends. It depends on if they make Sue white, because Fox News might not care.
True.
Fox News is always unnecessarily weighing in on things, though.
That's true. So they might still make the take. I heard
But the more in this movie, I feel like
he got the Riz for sure.
mm-hmm,
He got the Riz for
coming
sure.
out the water, all
Yeah.
So I feel like we've covered a lot of ground here, but I'm just gonna leave it to some. Well, actually, before we get to final thoughts, and originally when we are gonna do this conversation, that person I was gonna invite to be our accents expert specialist, but we're not gonna do that today. So we got a quick accents grades all around.
Ooh, accent grade. Give me a second.
Throughout the
Lupita gets
film?
a 10. Lupita has to get a 10. Ooh. M'Baku's is always interesting. Cause like, is his actor British?
Is Winston?
Is Winston Duke British?
I don't know. Oh, that was what I forgot.
Winston Duke sounds British.
Yeah.
You know, Winston Duke's gonna get a lot of people messed up and like just calling people bald-headed demons in like real life.
That was why. Okay, that was a scene where I got kind of scared. I was like, "Whoa, this is a roast. This is a real roast." But everyone's laughing, so I'm just gonna go with it.
This is escalated.
Yeah, because things could go real bad with that roast if someone uses that in real life.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking up if Winston Duke is British because that'll inform. That will definitely inform my thought process behind it. Oh, he was born in Trinidad. Okay. I feel like his accent gets a 7 for me because I feel it going in and out sometimes.
Who else?
Queen Ramonda.
Angela Bassett.
She can act forever, but
The accent is a little.
it goes in and out a little bit.
I kind of noticed it's a little.
It ain't perfect.
It ain't. No.
It's a little heavy.
Letitia
Yeah.
Wright.
That's right.
I'm thinking about Letitia Wright. Also kind of in the middle with Shuri's accent.
I believe Shuri. Like,
I believe Shuri too.
I feel like,
I think she's definitely above the queen.
yeah. Okoye feels African to me. That it like Okoye definitely feels very much so like I've met people who speak like Okoye.
Mm-hmm.
I've grown up around people who speak like Okoye, so I believe that felt real.
10.
10. I'll give Okoye a 10 for sure.
Lupita also 10.
Yeah.
Who else?
Is that the whole?
Those are the big ones.
Yeah, those sound like the big ones. Sorry, Angela Bassett, please, if you're watching this, know that we still love
Angela,
you.
you still get that Oscar.
Yeah,
Always.
Oscar. Just so we're clear, we love you, Angela Bassett. If you are, for whatever reason you are watching this, I don't know why, but we mean no harm.
We mean absolutely no harm. It's only love.
So with that said, let's get some final thoughts. What, we've covered a lot of ground here, but before we wrap up the big Wakanda Forever special, what else?
Watch
the movie. Go see it.
I would say this is my favorite Marvel movie ever. And it's a lot of Marvel movies.
Yeah. I feel like definitely, this might be controversial because I've spent a lot of time with this universe, but I have had this film now in seeing it twice and in it not leaving my brain since I've seen it. It's definitely in contention with Infinity War for me at those top spots because like I just feel like both those movies are thematically very heavy films. And this movie just speaks to my existence very nicely, more than other Marvel movies do. So I say it's up there for sure.
Yeah, no, that's I gotta think about that some more as far as where it ranks. But yeah, to your point, just encourage people, go see it like several times.
Please.
You know, let's keep having, have conversations. Like, this is a film, and I was joking, like the facilitated conversation industry is gonna love this. I am the facilitated conversation industry, by the way. Like, I'm just thinking about like my fellow, especially like Black and brown writers, who I can be like, look, we can find some funding. Let's go out. Let's have these conversations, because there's just so much to unpack. There's so much, again, so many opportunities. Like you said, like, this really is for us in a way that none of these other films have been. And there's so much there. There's so much both forward, even was it? And I forgot if they mentioned this in the first film too, but like, like the death of Queen Ramonda, or daughter of Lumumba. Like, you've got these references that are just so layered in there.
Right. I caught that too.
Yeah. Like, and to the I guess we should probably address the hoteps, the incels, one more time.
Yep.
Like, just whenever you're on the same side as Jason Whitlock,
think about it.
Stop.
It's a pretty big L.
Just like, this is a wonderful. There's something for everyone in this film. Like, I'm just gonna, again, there's so many other great places and like smart places I can go, but if nothing else, Lupita, the bakery. Like, I don't know how you go to as just a conscious human being, and you're like, I'm mad at this.
Right.
Why? Why? There's this deep story, characters.
It's a good film, y'all. It's just, look, I get it. I get you want to be on your hotepery. I get you hate women. Well, I don't get that you hate women, but you hate women. But how about you just, for this once, silence? Because we need we need Black representation, but we need African representation in film. That's deeply important. We need Mayan representation. We need Latinx representation at this level. And if you go see this, you show Marvel that you want this. You show companies that you want this. And then we get more of it. And I want more of it. I need more of this series. I want more of this series. It's important. Also, by supporting a movie like this at this level, you show companies the quality that we expect. So yeah, go watch it. Even if you are kicking and screaming throughout it, if you're an uncle who hates women, nephew, I know you hopefully don't hate women, take your uncle, tie him to the chair legally, please.
Yeah. And just, again, shout out to Ryan Coogler.
Yeah.
For, I mean, even, again, we look at the way, like in wrestling, it's what's the term when you like like lift someone up or whatever,
throw them down.
I forget the term, just like, basically putting someone on the map is like you're the bigger star and they have a match against you. Like, in terms of like Marvel films, when I think about this, we talked about Civil War earlier, and shout out to like the Captain America franchise for kind of being the one that, like, they obviously do it in like all the Marvel movies, but I think as far as like most effectively and successfully, before it'd been like, wow, the way they introduced Spider-Man and Black Panther especially was like so effective.
Right.
But then you look at the way, again, bring in Namor and bring in Mayan culture.
Right.
And just like that theme of not just like Black and brown like relations, both the conflicts but also the opportunities for unity.
Right.
Like, that is, to do that with everything else going on with this film, with losing Chadwick and trying to rewrite and make a film from that. I mean, I'm gonna still be grasping the magnitude of this film for weeks and months, probably. You know,
when this drops on Disney Plus, this will be like in my like regular rotation for sure.
I think we're gonna look back on this movie too, like years to come from now, and be like, that happened in that show. Like, this representation and togetherness between Black and brown people was able to be shown at this level. Like, and that's what, like, you know, I mean, that's the you know, what we are moving towards. It's just like communities and like things of that nature, and it's just like,
it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Very beautiful.
And white people, it's your fault.
Yeah. All the problems in this film, if you don't understand it, read some books, maybe go back to school. No, don't go back to school. They're going to lie to you.
Wait. No, you know, we got a plug.
Oh,
The White Silence Monastery.
The White Silence Monastery.
I'm going to bring it back.
Yes, White Silence Monastery.
Coming soon. Physical location coming soon. But, you know, if you'd like to make some Venmo donations and get started on Zoom or something,
we're looking for donors, please.
We're here. The Bruce Poinsette Show can get you set up.
Pay up, Bruce.
Exactly.
Bruce.
Exactly.
Give Bruce
Pay
all the
up,
money.
Bruce.
Quote of the year.